Hello everyone, it's Fluffy, and I'm back with another game. I have a very fun Sonya vs Kindle game, which was a very long and brutal battle, but I'm not going to show that today. Today we're going to be looking at the Eagle Mirror, which happened on... It happened against Operation Mechstorm as I stream sniped him that one time, and I saved the game so I can review it. Now this game is Go7 did look at it on his live stream, but he kind of just sped through it without really looking at alternative things we could have done. The map is Afterthought, and I am going to explain the reasoning of what I did and also give a little more context of why certain things happen. So first I'm going to move. I'm going to have my units face the left, his units face the right, and let's begin. So first things first, he builds 2 infantry. Now I would have built it from the middle base first, so it seems like it matches with my infantry, but he can do what he wants, doesn't matter. I go for my neutral base, always go for the neutral bases first. And he goes for the port, which I also do the same. It is a capture chain, and sending it to the back capture is just... You definitely want to go for the more forward properties if you can, especially since the turn count to reach that property is the same. Go for the one more centralized, or rather, go for the one that spreads out your infantry as much as possible, because more spread means that they are less likely to get into each other's way as they capture. So, Operation Mechstorm went with a recon opening, which Go7 did agree with. There is a lot of shoals and a lot of roads. The recon can fly really far, and I decide that I didn't want a recon opening. We'll see what I do later. So he continues capturing, his recon moves forward, and I decide to do a big brain move called building an APC after the recon has already started moving forward. Now, the reason why I was comfortable building the APC was because if we look at the positions of my infantry, they are all within 1 tank range from a base. So I felt safe using this APC. Additionally, I did go for this back capture at the same time that I timed this back capture with my APC so I can immediately pick up an infantry. This is a back capture, it's not going to reach the front line anytime soon. So I can immediately pick it up and start moving it to the front line. Whereas my opponent is now slightly delayed in this capture because the recon takes a turn from the base. My APC also takes a turn from the base, but I'm getting this property first and I'm using it to boost a different infantry. So I'm not losing anything, I'm only gaining momentum with my captures. Recon moves forward, goes in a very threatening position, and he builds his first tank. I put my APC in a position such that the recon cannot hit anything without getting struck back with a tank. Now, the recon does not have the movement to attack from this tile. It can only attack this infantry from the shoal, which would be in range of my tank, and everything else the recon can hit is guarded by my tank. Just like that. So while the recon is supposed to counter the APC opening, I felt that the recon was sufficiently countered. I didn't lose any infantry from my capture gains since I can immediately pick one up from the back. And I get my tank. So I am happy with the opening. I certainly think my APC earned more than the recon. Or at the very least, it costed me less capture time than the recon did. So I move my tank straight ahead. It covers my bottom infantry because well, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Never mind, it doesn't cover it completely. The recon can go all the way here. Am I counting it right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, never mind. Yeah, the recon can't hit this tile. It's just highlighted for some reason. It can only attack from the plains tile, which my tank does cover. And my APC moves my infantry more forward again. Now, admittedly, he does block this city for 1 turn, but keep in mind, the only infantry that could have captured it was the infantry that got boosted by my APC to this tile. So it would not, the infantry from this back capture would not have been able to walk here anyway. So the recon delayed my infantry in the sense that it offsets my APC, but it didn't really counter it. And I start building a tank chain because tank chains are nice. It keeps my back infantry protected while my forward tank protects my forward infantry. So now, this recon chooses to sit on this city to deny my infantry from capturing it, but I think it's fine because I have something else to capture. So what did my APC do this game so far? Well, it didn't really earn too much, but it definitely boosted this infantry in the back all the way to this capture. So what it really did was it boosted this city by half a turn. Not half a turn, by 1 full turn, which isn't much, but it's better than nothing, and it's better than a recon which didn't boost anything so far. We could see that I would also say the different capture order on the sides is better for me. I chose to capture the airport with this infantry and then send this infantry forward. I'm thinking that this has enough. 3 turns of this infantry walking perfectly matches this city, and my infantry capturing the airports will still get this nice capture chain without delaying my airport any further than I need to. So I like this capture order better. He decides to skip the airport and instead, well, not really skip it, he's using his infantry to continue the chain. I just went to cut the chain with a different infantry because I have a different infantry that can his infantry could go for the more forward city, but it is kind of there's other infantry that can capture is what I'm saying. Though I don't think he's losing anything other than delaying his more center city, whereas I'm already at near the center. I capture my comm tower, and I continue pressing forward. I'm going to be very aggressive at the bottom because that's where all my bases are. It's almost like the bottom side has 2 bases and the top side have a base plus airports. So the top side does definitely seem like the weaker side in my opinion. mostly because I will have a harder time getting infantry up there. Additionally, while there are ocean tiles, anti-airs aren't too slowed down by the terrain, so copters can't exactly benefit too much from the movement compared to the anti-airs. Well, actually, that's not worded that right. Anti-airs can still follow copters pretty reliably on this map, I would say. I continue pressing forward with my APC at the front because at this point my APC is basically like a free wall. A recon can't really wall a tank. It might just get one-shotted, but an APC can. It can survive a hit. He goes for the airports, whereas I already captured mine. And he does go equally, well, I would say almost equally aggressive on the top. I don't have my infantry up there, so he can do this without vehicle support. He has vehicles at the bottom, so I have to make my push with my vehicles. And he moves his recon on here to once again deny me captures. But I decide to go in anyway. And the reason why I felt comfortable was because of my APC. My APC can wall this tile, which means with this mountain, I have effectively walled off this city, supported by 3 tanks. And he can't even first strike my tank because of the APC. I preemptively built an anti-air. I was going for the 11 Eagle anti-air strategy that I've done in the past, or at least I've definitely tried to do. So, anti-air, always get them. You can never get too much. Actually, you can get too much, but people don't build enough anti-airs. More often than not, you're going to benefit from more anti-airs than less anti-airs. I also built my first copter, so I can start chasing the infantry away, with a single tank at the top just to ward off the anti-air. So, he does attack, and he's fine attacking because he moves his artillery in to cover this area. Now, I could go in with 2 tanks, kill the tank on the shoal, then my tank strikes the artillery, but he has 5 tanks in the area to my 3 tanks. And it's rather close to his base and airport, so it's definitely favoring him if I stay and fight. Still, I got the city. Well, he killed my infantry down here, so I take a pick off at the top as well. So it's an infantry for an infantry, but I also get his recon. I pretty much got his recon for free in that case. I interrupt his capture. It is in artillery range, but his artillery is going to fire at something anyway, whether it's this infantry or this infantry. So I felt fine firing to interrupt his city. Once again, APC blocks the path, and I put an infantry in front. I am in artillery range, but I felt comfortable enough, mostly because... Oops, I accidentally clicked. But I felt comfortable enough mostly because I have an artillery of my own, and if he wants to attack, there's a lot of infantry in the way. His tanks aren't going to all get first strikes onto my tanks. But I did do a little bit of a mistake, a blunder you might call it, and that is, I had this tank sit on the city. If you've been paying attention, you might have realized this tank on the neutral city was the same tank that attacked the recon that was standing on this city a few turns earlier. That means this tank is chipped by the recon. If you don't know what that means, it means that normally with a single comm tower, 2 tanks have about a 30 had about a 1/3 chance of killing my tank on a city. That's just how the probability works. But because the tank is chipped by the recon, it is more likely to be 60 to 70% chance that these two tanks, let's say these two, can just kill this tank on a city, and then another tank can move in and strike my artillery. And from then on, I will have lost this tank. Another tank might be able to sit on this city. I don't think another tank has the movement for that. No, I don't think so. But basically, he can strike my artillery, kill off a tank, maybe get a lot more infantry kills down here, and I would be losing pretty hard with this. Fortunately, this is a live game, and even though it is likely my tank would die, it is also not guaranteed. So if he went for this, he could have very well... I probably still would have went for it, mostly because he has more tanks in the area at the moment. Even if he loses a tank over here or two, it's probably worth killing a lot of infantry in the process. And I would say it is worth taking the risk because it's more than likely that you just win the game if the luck roll goes in your favor. He fires at my infantry, kills another infantry over here, and instead opts for the safer option of killing my units not protected by the artillery. My medium tank is not coming into play yet, so I can't go first striking them because he still outnumbered me in tanks. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tanks to my 1, 2, 3, 4 tanks. Even if I first strike and kill, I would only kill 2 tanks at the most, and then those 4 tanks will first strike my 4 tanks, and that's not a good trade. So I choose to retreat here. He did get away with, I believe, 2 infantry kills and injuring a 3rd one, but I think it's fine because I did delay the city quite a bit, whereas I'm getting a city up here. The only way to stop the city is for anti-air to clear my infantry and his infantry to interrupt, but that's losing the anti-air. I instead moved to a more safer position and focus on trying to capture this city. Once again, my APC is acting as a wall. Never mind, I did not go for the city. But I will definitely try. I guess it's because I needed something to sit on this tile, and I don't want to lose my tanks to a first strike, then another tank strikes my artillery. So I guess if I put my infantry here, if he wants to strike my artillery, he would have to spend 2 tanks hitting infantry or an APC, and that wouldn't get him much. I didn't move my chipped tanks onto cities, so if you notice the tank on the city, I realized it was chipped from earlier. I moved it onto the city to heal up the chip damage. So it's basically, I want it to be back at a full 10 HP instead of the 9 point whatever it's at. Makes it slightly more durable for future defenses or future battles. And now we go in the stall game because we're Eagle and we benefit from stall. He continues capturing these properties, going for a few hits, sitting on my HQ so I can't use it, sits on this silo so I can't use it. He gets 2 more infantry. But I think he did base kit for the medium tank, so the unit count isn't that bad for me. I didn't even realize he base kit during the game. We were playing this live and I was focusing on the bottom. So I realized because he had all these units at the bottom, this city is now vulnerable. This tank is too far up to interrupt, and this anti-air cannot break through my tanks. So I get this city, and if I capture this city as well, it means I will get the income advantage. Actually, even if I don't capture the city, I will still get the income advantage of just 1k. And so the most important thing for me right now, after getting the income advantage, is keeping my HQ alive, because his tank sitting on my HQ is still scary. I still try to capture this because I want to force a fight somewhere. He can let this go, or he can allow me to continue to fight over here. I move my medium tank onto the forest. I keep it on some terrain because you never know when someone decides to send 4 tanks into your medium tank and call it a winning trade. I've had it happen to me, and fortunately I have lots of light tanks nearby, but if it was a medium tank alone against a horde of tanks, many times players would just opt to attack your medium tank with their 4 tanks because it's your only vehicle in the area. I moved my copter over here to continue supporting the wall. Basically, I want to make it as difficult as as costly as possible to attack into me. If he attacks into me, he's going to spend time attacking infantry or getting into range of artillery, and there's not a lot of angles of attack based on where I place my medium tank and my copter. The tank on the city is not chipped, so it will only be about a 1/3 chance to 2-hit KO with the light tanks, and even then it would be within 1 turn's reinforcement from my base. I joined an infantry. Well, I guess unit count isn't exactly a problem for me at the moment. I built another anti-air. More anti-airs. If they have 2 copters, I get 2 anti-airs. That's how it works. Goes in, and now I was watching his stream, but I didn't mute it, so I don't know what he was thinking. But I've been told by the chat that it's just a tank sacrifice to get a charge advantage, or something that he just did so because he just did it. Maybe it was time pressure. I was ahead on time, but ultimately this was just a tank sack. Whether by impulse or not, it was an intentional tank sack. It was not a misclick. I captured this city. Now I have the income advantage, and I join cap because I actually do want the city as well. The cities at the center are very hard to flip, so once you get it, you pretty much get it until a drastic event happens. My infantry gets the kill, yeah! And I move my medium tank onto a property because you definitely want... They're still very vulnerable, I would say. Medium tanks are a lot less durable than they appear. Especially against eagle copters. They will just melt. It's one of the reasons why I actually started liking Neo tanks more recently, and that's because medium tanks feel very, very squishy once you find its weaknesses. So I built a Neo tank to counter that medium tank. I could build a bomber, but it felt like it would take too long. He goes in with the copter, denies me my city, well, denies me the neutral city, then locks it with artillery. Despite the infantry going towards my HQ, he seems to have pulled his tanks back from the area and moves closer to centralizing his forces. I guess that does make sense, because if you control the center, you can always switch, like suddenly flip your army on either side and wipe out half of it. Like let's say I suddenly moved up to attack the HQ where there's nothing really defending it. Of course I wouldn't do that because I need to protect my own HQ, but I do suppose it's better to control the center than it is to control the flanks. Just for the ability to shift up or down. He built his bomber to counter my Neo tank, and I have enough to buy a fighter. We'll talk about buys later. I take this artillery shot hoping to get a kill, didn't quite get it. So I send my 4 HP infantry to get it. I sit on my HQ to protect it. And medium tank in a forest. Forests are still decent terrain for them so that they don't just get popped by a copter. My Neo tank moves up to start covering the top area a little more. And I withdraw some of my vehicles to create a simple to defend line with my infantry at the front line too. So that his vehicles can't first strike my vehicles is what I'm saying. Also notice how I have my copters in front. I noticed the anti-air can't exactly reach my copters here, so the copters do act as a protection for my light tanks in the back. Oh, like I said, I could afford a fighter, but 11 Eagle AA strategy. 11. I left my artillery open because I don't really need to protect it, to be honest. I have another artillery, and if he strikes my artillery, I have stuff to strike back. Frontline arties, woo! He starts capturing this city. His artillery fired at my 4 HP infantry, so it's not going to be supporting this capture. And he built a second bomber. Now, as he was making his turns, I was hoping that he moves his infantry. Oops. What happened? Okay, for some reason his units were not shaded anymore, but as he was making his turn, I noticed his copter was over here, and I noticed my anti-air is exactly just enough tiles away, except there's a forest tile, so when I click on it, well, during my turn, it would not say I can reach this tile, but if he moves his infantry, or if I just kill the infantry, and make sure that there's nothing to block my anti-air could just strike this copter, and now it can strike the copter using this path. So I go for the hit. It's a copter, I think it's fine. But of course we do have to be careful of lightning strike, which I say, who cares, it doesn't matter if you get lightning strike first, if they're overextending onto your base. I played enough Eagles to know that first lightning strike doesn't always win. Eagle mirrors to be more specific. I start shifting everything down. Well, after I kill the infantry in this city, I start shifting everything down. And with all the anti-airs I built more anti-air. Because 11 Eagle anti-air strategy, whoa! And then I see this bomber hit, and I'm thinking, he's definitely going for the lightning strike. He starts moving in, taking the kills he can get with his infantry, and focuses a lot on breaking through. This was a bit of, it felt more like a sack up here. Starts taking less than nice trades. Well, they were still mostly nice, but some of them are not the best trades. One of the disadvantages of sacking for Eagle Super is that are you really attacking 2 times if your first attack is onto unfavorable trades? That's one of the downsides that I've noticed that Eagle mirrors face. Well, not just Eagle mirrors, but anyone playing as Eagle who sacrifices attacks to get the first power. Are you really attacking twice if you're attacking like this? I would say no. But he did get the first lightning strike, and he did bomb my medium tank, so that is something. Continues attacking. He goes for this hit to damage my anti-air, kills my copter, tries to kill this copter, but I survive. This tank surviving was probably a big deal. His bomber bombs this artillery, and the other bomber goes for my Neo tank. Now, I think it definitely might have been... It probably would be better to go after my anti-airs. This tank can also strike my anti-air over here, and this other tank can finish it off. After killing... That would be killing 2 of my anti-airs over here, leaving me only with 2 left. 2 left that would be out of range of these bombers without a lightning strike. But this anti-air survived. Barely, but it survived. And now it's my turn. If we look at the values, I lost over half my army in that turn. He did about 100... Let's just say over 100,000 damage to me. But now it's my turn, and I have a lightning strike as well. I go for this hit, which Eagle air units are very durable during lightning strike. But I do kill the bomber. I artillery shot the medium tank. I strike from the city. I strike from my HQ. I take a shot with my copter first before finishing it off with a tank. My anti-air kills off the 1 HP tank. And I built a Neo tank which has the movement to strike the medium tank. If you haven't noticed, he did run out of time. The Neo tank was built, but it hadn't moved even though he had lightning strike. And a tank that was used to sack, and my tank up here, it also stayed there. I go for this hit. I join my tank, mostly because my 1 HP tank isn't doing anything, and a 3 HP tank would have a better chance of killing this 2 HP. And what I could have done before using the lightning strike, what I could have done is join my 2 HP anti-air with my 6 HP anti-air, and it would be better equipped to deal with the bomber, but it is live and I just want to click lightning strike. So, lightning strike. My artillery shot the medium tank the first time. I instead choose to shoot at the anti-air because my Neo tank can wipe the medium tank. My copter was the one who took this tank kill, so my 3 HP tank can take the anti-air kill. I finish off this tank, and now I strike the bomber. I want to make sure I absolutely kill it, so I sack the 2 HP anti-air, which I could have joined with this 6 HP anti-air, and then sent my 6 HP anti-air to finish the bomber. Definitely should have joined it, but too late. Neo tank strikes a medium tank. Light tank strikes the tank over here. And I just continue cleaning up the overextended units. This is what you call a stabilizing lightning strike, where you're using a lightning strike, but you're only fighting on your territory, and at no point are you extending to your opponent. And this is actually very nice because one of the biggest weaknesses of a lightning strike, just like a Sammy victory march, is that you would be overextending onto your opponent's territory. But here, I've only been fighting on my territory, so it's very safe. My APC is still putting in work, trying to wall off what I can, or at the very least, put units at an awkward position, making it difficult for them to attack without being in a very unsupported position. And I have a nice effective wall again. Maybe not the most effective, but it's somewhat. It's something. It's not nothing. And I built 2 more infantry. He artillery strikes at my APC. That didn't need to happen. And my APC did quite a lot on this, where it has been a wall which allowed me to kill the recon earlier. It continued acting as my wall for my artillery for one of my artillery for so long, and I'm still using it to shuffle units around quickly, still using it as a wall. But I think Operation Mechstorm definitely could have done so much better if the bombers went for my anti-air. I guess he didn't want the Neo-Tank to get 2 strikes. It is a scary Neo-Tank. But winning the air war, considering I don't have a fighter, would probably be much more advantageous for him. Now I continue pressing forward. He's definitely... well, I'm going to be very aggressive because I know Eagle scales with vehicle count. So if I just try to kill as many vehicles as possible, then there will be no lightning strike that works. There will be no lightning strikes that would save him, since all the vehicles would be dead. Even if I lose my vehicles, it's fine, because I just don't want him to get vehicles, and that's the important difference. My APC continues walling for units, and I just keep going in. I build a bomber of my own because, yeah, I do like bombers, especially Eagle bombers, and especially Sonya bombers. But this is not a Sonya game, unfortunately. He breaks through to my artillery. I feel confident putting it here because I wanted to make it awkward for his artillery. But even though my attacks are costing me some units, my APC, I think it's fine, because it will also cost him units, and that's all that matters. It's not about, at this point it's not about, if you're ahead as in an Eagle mirror, and there's no power anytime soon, trade as much vehicles as you can, because the more you trade, the less the lightning strike will swing it against you. Which is one of the reasons why basically any anti-Eagle strategy involves killing off Eagle vehicles. So I go in, continue killing units that I can kill. I really want a copter and a Neo-Tank to strike this Neo-Tank, so I'm going to try to do that. Go into... no. I use my artillery. Unfortunately, I do want to kill this artillery as well because it is covering the Neo, but that unfortunately means my copter can't strike the Neo-Tank and my Neo-Tank at the same turn. So I opted to send this copter in before sending in my Neo-Tank, and the Neo-Tank survives. No! But at the very least, my Neo-Tank is less contested. So at this point, he resigned, which I was pretty much ahead the entire game, I would say, except for that one point where this turn, he definitely could have, if he realized this was chipped, he definitely could have sent this tank to attack from the bottom, sent this tank to attack from the top tile, and maybe with sufficient luck, which should be in his favor, the tank from this shoal tile would be able to strike my artillery after killing this tank. And I guess also with the lightning strike, he was pretty much out of time at this point. He built a Neo-Tank on this turn. Well, he built a Neo-Tank on this lightning strike turn, which didn't get to move again because he ran out of time. So there's the Neo tank. He used a lightning strike. But ultimately, this artillery didn't get to move, this tank didn't get to move, this recon and Neo tank didn't get to move, mostly because it is a live game and he was under time pressure. But if he did go for my anti-airs, then his bombers go free. Well, one of them anyway. I still think this 8 HP and this full HP anti-air would be able to finish off one of the bombers. But I guess with my Neo tank alive, I could also just wipe out his ground forces. And such as if I just wiped out all the tanks and then spam anti-air, then the bombers won't do anything. Either way, it is still a rock and a hard place. My lightning strike did do about the same damage, about 100,000 as well. But that was this game. I like Eagle Mirrors, mostly because, well, I say I like it, but I think it's only because I feel like I know how to play Eagle Mirrors. Just like how I know how to play Sonya's. But that was this game. Next time, we will have this game, which took a very long time. I think we played for about... I'm not gonna spoil it. It was a bitter struggle on this map. But that's it for this video. Goodbye! Also, I may have a non-Advance Wars video coming soon, not sure when, but there is a new game that I've been wanting to play and share. I'll make like a little trailer for it, if I'm not too lazy or forget. Now, goodbye. Bye.